everyone, and this week in our reading and writing packets, we are on week 6. It is the last week in our first unit. We're almost done. So this week, we are going to be looking at two Arthur stories, which I love. The first one we will read is Arthur Writes a Story, and the second book we will read is Arthur's Pet Business. As you can see, the two books are here. So we're going to read both stories, and then we're going to talk about what is the same and what is different in our two books. So to do that, we are going to write out who all the characters are, what the setting is, the problem, and the solution for each book, okay? So we'll do that, and then we will go through all of the information, and we will say what's the same and what's different. So, let's get reading. So our first book we're gonna read today is Arthur Writes a Story. And this is written by Mark Brown. Arthur's teacher, Mr. Ratburn, explained the homework. "What should the story be about?" Arthur asked. "Anything," Mr. Ratburn said. "Write about something that is important to you." On the board it says, "Write a story. Have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Use details and be creative." That's just like what we do. Arthur started his story the minute he got home. He knew exactly what he wanted to write about. So here's him working, and then I'll read his story. How I got my puppy pal. I always wanted a dog, but first I had to prove I was responsible. So I started Arthur's Pet Business. My mom made me keep all the animals in the basement. It was a lot of work, but it was fun until I thought I lost Perky. But then I found her and she had 3 puppies, and I got to keep one of them. That's how I got my dog pal. The end. Arthur read his story to DW. "That's a boring story," DW said. "Does it have to be real life? Your life is so dull." "I don't want to write a boring story," said Arthur. "If it were me," DW suggested, "I'd make the story about getting an elephant." The next day, Arthur read his new story to Buster. "Did you like the part about the elephant puppies?" he asked. "It's okay, I guess," said Buster. "I'm writing a cool story about outer space." Maybe my story should take place on the moon, Arthur thought. On Wednesday, Arthur read his newest story to the brain. "Scientifically speaking, elephants would weigh less on the moon, but wouldn't float that high," said the brain. "So you don't like it?" asked Arthur. "A good story should be well researched," said the brain. "Like mine, if I had a pet stegosaurus in the Jurassic period." Arthur hurried to the library. "What are all those books for?" asked Francine. "Research," said Arthur. "I'm writing about my pet, 5-toed mammal of the genus Locodona." "Your what?" said Francine. My elephant, Arthur exclaimed. Oh, said Francine. I'm putting jokes in my story. All through dinner, Arthur worried about his story. Please pass the corn, asked his father. Corn! That's it! Said Arthur. Purple corn and blue elephants on planet Schmelephant? Now that's funny. Arthur was acting weirder than usual, said D.W. On Thursday, everyone at the Sugar Bowl was talking about their stories. Last year, a kid wrote a country western song for her story, said Prunella, and she got an A+. How do you know? Asked Arthur. That kid was me, explained Prunella. Mr. Ratburn said I should send it to a record company. It was that good. Wow, said Arthur. That night, Arthur's imagination went wild. He decided to turn his story into a song. He even made up a dance to go with it. Later, he tried it out on his family. Now this little boy can go home and enjoy his own personal striped elephant, and you will see how happy he will be here on the planet Sylvan. Well, said Arthur, what do you think? Oh, here's Arthur. Here's his family. What do you think? Did they like it? Or no? I don't think so. Mother and father smiled. It's nice, said Grandma Thora, but a little confusing. Too bad you can't dance, said D.W. What am I gonna do? Said Arthur. My story is due tomorrow. That night, Arthur didn't sleep very well. The next day, Arthur worried until Mr. Ratburn finally called on him. Uh-oh. When Arthur's song and dance was over, the class was so quiet. It was almost spooky. Binky raised his hand. Did that really happen? Sort of, said Arthur. It started as the story How I Got My Dog. I'd like to hear that story, said Mr. Ratburn. The title was How I Got My Puppy Pal, said Arthur. Arthur told how proud he was of his pet business and how scared he was when Perky disappeared. And he told how happy he was to find her under his bed and how surprised he was to see her 3 puppies. And the best part is, said Arthur, I got to keep one. Buster said, I like that story better than your other one. Great story, said Binky. I think Arthur's story was the best, said Francine. Good work, said Mr. Ratburn. Of course, I expect you to write it all down by Monday. Then Mr. Ratburn gave Arthur a gold sticker. Oh, and one more thing, he said. Leave out the dancing. this was our first story, Arthur Writes a Story. So now you're gonna go over to my next video and we are gonna do some writing. See you there.